From the southernmost point of the National Hockey League, we now go to the northernmost point in the NHL. It is game number 3 of the 2024 Stanley Cup Final in a change of venue for the first time. From sunny Sunrise, Florida, all the way up to Edmonton, Alberta. The Oilers play host tonight to the Florida Panthers in an 0-2 deficit, trying to eke out their first victory of this Cup Final to get you set for Game 3 in the remainder of this Stanley Cup Final. However much longer it goes, Kasey Hudson is here on this Thursday on the early line to break it all down. Kasey, thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to join us here on TEL.
Of course. No better morning than joining my favorite duo and to just talk more hockey. It's almost done.
It's a beautiful thing. Hopefully we have more hockey to talk after more than like 4 or 5 games here in the Stanley Cup Final, because so far, Kasey, it hasn't been the most optimistic picture for the Oilers. Florida dominant, as you would expect, in both of the games on their home ice to start this series. 3-0, the shutout and the clean sheet for Sergei Bobrovsky in game number 1. 4-1 the victory, scoring the final 4 goals of the game after the Oilers opened up the scoring in game number 2 earlier this week. So Florida, the series favorite in both of the 2 games in Sunrise. They win on home ice. Maybe we expected that, but 3-goal margins in both. How surprised were you, Kasey?
I wasn't entirely too surprised. I know that a lot of people worry about swinging with the favorites too quick out the gate, but again, the Florida Panthers, stronger defense, stronger goaltending, and then they just showed that actually they can score. Heading into this series matchup, they only had about a tenth of a goal less than the Oilers in this high-octane offense that everyone has talked about. I think the bigger narrative was, what is Connor McDavid going to do in this situation? And while he's trying to throw his team on his back, we have seen the Florida Panthers minimize the role of X factors from the Lightning to the Bruins to the Rangers and the top scoring line in the NHL. So I think I was expecting them to rise to the occasion, and they've done just that. And they showed that game 1 was not a karmic fluke, as Connor McDavid kind of tried to point out from how they ended up closing out their Western Conference series to how the Florida Panthers took game 1.
Take a look at the NBA, 3-0 series lead for the Boston Celtics. We hope that the Edmonton Oilers don't face that same thing. Now, granted, if we take a look at the odds, the FanDuel Sportsbook actually opened up the Oilers for game number 3 as a minus 125 favorite. That now sits at a minus 138 price in a total that sits at 5.5. Before we get into the details tonight of the game itself, obviously key injury situations that we watch in the NBA with Kristaps Porzingis. Will he play or not in game number 3? He didn't play. Barkov, one of the best two-way centers in hockey, Kasey. What's the latest on him with his ability to possibly play tonight?
Full participation yesterday down in Sunrise, no issue, no extra cushion to protect his jaw, protect his face. He looked perfectly good to go. So it's really hard to pull these guys out of a lineup, especially in any sort of Stanley Cup situation. I know with the Lightning, we had guys getting rods in their legs just to prepare for a potential game 6. So Barkov will be good to go. And look, even if he's not as stout as he has been in game 1 and 2, we have to remember the Florida Panthers don't have one shutdown line. They have 2 shutdown lines, and they have other guys that can step up and help kind of secure that defensive role that Barkov has been tremendous in this series.
So, Kasey, the Oilers booked as a home favorite tonight in game number 3. We know the Rogers Place is going to be rocking up there in Edmonton. If the Oilers are going to win their first game of this set, if they are going to make good on the minus 138 money line price as of this moment, what is the key thing that Edmonton has to change to win its first game of this 2024 Cup Final?
They're going to have to get a little creative with scoring. The surprising thing with their ability to score and how many goals they typically rack up against their opponent is the fact that they haven't been able to solve Bobrovsky. He's really good down low. He's really good at protecting the net and spreading himself pretty wide. They haven't been able to get the puck over his shoulder or kind of hit some top shelf situations. So they do have to get creative. But something else that the Panthers are doing very well is that they're keeping them out of the middle of the ice. They're going to have to kind of level up their forecheck. They're going to have to try to get a little tougher in front of the net if they're going to get any scoring opportunities. And you're talking about top scorers amongst the Edmonton Oilers' top 3 guys and not many high danger shots. So again, it just comes back to creativity. It comes back to kind of pulling the Panthers into their game a little bit more, but they're going to have to get into the middle of the ice and they're going to have to get in front of that net if they're going to pick up goals and take game 3.
Connor McDavid, no doubt about it's going to have to step it up here. And also with Barkov back, makes that effort just a little bit tougher. Anytime goal-scoring market tonight for him, a plus 135 price. Anytime assist at a minus 295. And just to record a point, minus 620, which is absolutely incredible. Talk to us about Connor McDavid moving forward, and also any other goal scorers that you're taking a look in the market tonight here.
Yeah, well, heading into this series, you're talking about a guy that had 31 points through 18 games, and then 1 point, maybe 2 so far. So it's crazy where Connor McDavid's production has gone. But it can't just be the Connor McDavid show. We have to see the depth that we started to see a little bit in some of these rounds here. And the good news is when it comes to home ice, we saw Connor McDavid have that game-winning goal to push his team through. We know that a lot of these guys are gamers on home ice. So McDavid, I look at him in the assist column because he's going to try to set up his teammates and find those passing lanes that are so hard to get against the Panthers. So definitely look at him for assists. When it comes to those goal scorers, Hyman's got 8 goals on home ice throughout the playoff series, and he's somebody who's been quite silent throughout this playoff series thus far. Then you've got Bouchard. He's been the guy who's been most consistent with getting shots on goal, and that they're going to have to ramp that up tonight. Again, they're going to have to really pepper Bobrovsky to try to get a goal past him and get that creativity going. So I like Bouchard to pick up a goal. I like Hyman to pick up a goal. I like McDavid in that assist column. And it'll be interesting to see if Corey Perry gets back in the lineup tonight. It's been interesting to see him as a healthy scratch, but he has that veteran presence in these particular games, and he has had a couple assists throughout the round. So if he comes back into the lineup, we can see him maybe pick up an assist and kind of help out his team. But McDavid, love him for assists. Bouchard and Hyman, check them out for goals because they've been the most consistent on home ice.
On the only goal that Edmonton has scored so far in the Stanley Cup Final in these first 2 games, Connor McDavid did have an assist, as did Evan Bouchard, who has a plus 450 number tonight to tickle the twine. The 3 shortest goal scorer odds, all from Edmonton. But it's been very difficult, Kasey, as you shared, to get one past the man known as Bob. Sergei Bobrovsky has been sensational in this Stanley Cup Final. He is now the hefty odds-on favorite to win the Conn Smythe Award as well. Goaltending matchup tonight. I think it's fair to say that Bob has the advantage. Can Edmonton make him look pedestrian once again?
Well, no, I think that Bob is just, he's kind of solved this, and what is happening to help him out even more is how well the defense is playing in front of him. They're making sure that any pucks that come at him are very clear so that he has an opportunity to stop it. Oilers are not getting much traffic in front of Bob, but I like them to maybe have a bit more saves, both of these goaltenders. We've seen this kind of lopsided situation where one team has under 20 shots on goal and then it kind of switched for game 2. There's something out there that has Skinner as well as Bobrovsky to have 20-plus saves. I'm actually a big fan of this at minus 210 because I think that both teams are going to try to load up in the shot column and adjust their game a little bit tonight. The Panthers are looking to be counted out because of their traveling issues. And then, of course, there's the pressure for the Oilers to perform on home ice. So we should definitely see 20-plus shots on goal from both of these guys. Something else that I like, Bobrovsky 20-plus saves as well as a Florida win. This one's coming in at plus 150. If you want to take a gander at that, maybe sprinkle a little something on it because as much pressure as the Oilers have on them tonight, for some reason I'm feeling the Panthers for game 3. They've just got about 5 games on their roster that perform even better on the road, which is very scary to take into consideration regardless. This team is very hard to distract, so they're traveling and everything else. I don't think it's going to change much. So those are my favorite goalie props to keep an eye on. And Skinner for under 25.5.
So, Kasey, 30 seconds left in this segment, even less than that. If Florida wins tonight, is it over in 4, maybe 5 at most?
I would say over in 5. I don't see a sweep happening, not with Connor McDavid. We've seen him throw his team on his shoulders. So I think the Oilers at least pick up 1 win at home. But for some reason, I'm leaving the Panthers tonight. Also, take a look at Anton Mumbo. His line has been fantastic.
Plays into the break from Kasey. Thank you so much. More of the early line next.